Viktor Frankl was a noteworthy Austrian neurologist and psychiatrist who had remarkable insights on human psychology and its meanings. He has brought inspiration to people around the globe, not only as a prominent author and speaker later in life, but also as a survivor of the Holocaust. Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl's most famous work, is about the compelling reflection of his experiences in concentration camps during the horrific World War II, and also addresses his ingrained belief that even in the darkest of circumstances, individuals can choose to find meaning and purpose in their lives. Through his work, his ideas have made a profound impact on psychology, philosophy, and spirituality, and continue to inspire people from all walks of life, even in this present day. So now, it's your turn to allow Viktor Frankl's famous quotes to get you to deeply reflect on your own life and move forward with an inspired mind. Stick around to the very end and let us know in the comments below what inspired you the most about Frankl's thoughts.
In some ways, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning, such as the meaning of a sacrifice. No man should judge unless he asks himself in absolute honesty whether in a similar situation he might not have done the same. What is to give light must endure burning. Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedom. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. To choose one's own way. The one thing you can't take away from me is the way I choose to respond to what you do to me. The last of one's freedom is to choose one's attitude in any given circumstance. Don't aim at success. The more you aim at it and make it a target, the more you are going to miss it. For success, like happiness, cannot be pursued, it must ensue. And it only does so as the unintended side effect of one's personal dedication to a cause greater than oneself, or as the byproduct of one's surrender to a person other than oneself. Happiness must happen, and the same holds for success. You have to let it happen by not caring about it. I want you to listen to what your conscience commands you to do and go on to carry it out to the best of your knowledge. Then you will live to see that in the long run. In the long run, I say, success will follow you precisely because you had forgotten to think about it. Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. I do not forget any good deed done to me, and I do not carry a grudge for a bad one. Forces beyond your control can take away everything you possess, except one thing. Your freedom to choose how you will respond to the situation. Love is the only way to grasp another human being in the innermost core of his personality. No one can become fully aware of the very essence of another human being unless he loves him. By his love, he is enabled to see the essential traits and features in the beloved person, and, even more, he sees that which is potential in him, which is not yet actualized, but yet ought to be actualized. Furthermore, by his love, the loving person enables the beloved person to actualize these potentialities. By making him aware of what he can be and of what he should become, he makes these potentialities come true. If there is meaning in life at all, then there must be meaning in suffering. Man does not simply exist, but always decides what his existence will be, what he will become, the next moment. By the same token, every human being has the freedom to change at any instant. Love goes very far beyond the physical person of the beloved. It finds its deepest meaning in his spiritual being, his inner self. Whether or not he is actually present, whether or not he is still alive at all, ceases somehow to be of importance. To draw an analogy, a man's suffering is similar to the behavior of a gas. If a certain quantity of gas is pumped into an empty chamber, it will fill the chamber completely and evenly, no matter how big the chamber. Thus suffering completely fills the human soul and conscious mind, no matter whether the suffering is great or little. Therefore, the size of human suffering is absolutely relative. Dostoevsky said once, "There is only one thing I dread, not to be worthy of my sufferings." These words frequently came to my mind after I became acquainted with those martyrs whose behavior in camp, whose suffering and death bore witness to the fact that the last inner freedom cannot be lost. It can be said that they were worthy of their sufferings. The way they bore their suffering was a genuine inner achievement. It is this spiritual freedom, which cannot be taken away, that makes life meaningful and purposeful. For the world is in a bad state, but everything will become still worse unless each of us does his best. The man's concern, even his despair, over the worthwhileness of life, is an existential distress, but by no means a mental disease. It is not freedom from conditions, but it is freedom to take a stand toward the conditions. What man actually needs is not a tensionless state, but rather the striving and struggling for some goal worthy of him. What he needs is not the discharge of tension at any cost, but the call of a potential meaning waiting to be fulfilled by him. Fear makes come true that which one is afraid of. Human kindness can be found in all groups, even those which as a whole would be easy to condemn. There are things which must cause you to lose your reason, or you have none to lose. To suffer unnecessarily is masochistic rather than heroic. The meaning of life is to give life meaning. The crowning experience of all for the homecoming man is the wonderful feeling that, after all he has suffered, there is nothing he need fear anymore, except his God. Life is not primarily a quest for pleasure as Freud believed, or a quest for power as Alfred Adler taught, but a quest for meaning. The truth that love is the highest goal to which man can aspire. The salvation of man is through love, and in love. Man is capable of changing the world for the better if possible, and of changing himself for the better if necessary.